Archbishop Naumann followed up with tough words criticizing the Biden administration in his homily Thursday night during the National Prayer Vigil for Life. The national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenburg, was there, and he's on the National Mall right now. He joins us by phone. John, we've talked about Thursday's setback and the march going virtual for the first time. What's going on right now down in D.C. despite all the changes?
Well, there weren't the numbers that there were in the past, for sure. There was, I would say, about a few hundred, 200 to 300, maybe even 400, but that would probably be the top. So there weren't thousands by any means. But that said, people still marched. The March for Life itself had a small group of pro-life leaders that marched and carried the banner, as they do every year. And then as they started to march, people filed in behind them and filled in and marched along with them to the steps. And once you got to the steps, obviously, it's heavily guarded still from the events that happened at the Capitol a few weeks back. And so there is a lot of security. But what people did this year was they placed roses on the sidewalk in front of those steps as a symbol.
You know, now on Thursday night, Archbishop Joseph Naumann called reversing the Mexico City policy social imperialism, enforcing American values on third world countries. He said this about President Biden. Let's listen.
Sadly, President Biden is the perfect example of the religiously and ethically incoherent straddle, claiming to believe that human life begins at conception and personally opposing abortion, while doing everything within his power to promote and institutionalize abortion not only in the U.S., but around the world.
So, John, what are the feelings on the Mall today over this? Are there plans to regroup the movement?
So, I mean, the reaction, to be honest, over those comments, there was sadness, there was anger over them. Another thing people mention when it comes to that announcement about the Mexico City policy is the timing of it. Somebody even said to me that they think it was a signal that the president was sending, doing it yesterday right before the March for Life, saying that he obviously knows that the March for Life was today and that it was a signal that he did that on that day. As far as how to handle that from people at the movement, they didn't say there is a specific plan or anything on how to approach it. They just said they're going to continue to pray that the president changes his mind and thinks of abortion and the pro-life movement as a whole differently in the areas that he disagrees.
All right, John, a lot of people criticize the March for Life as being just pro-birth, but that's not actually the aim of the movement. Have you heard any stories of that today?
One woman gave a very powerful speech where she talked about that this just isn't about abortion. This is also about after the baby is born. It's about supporting the mother and supporting the child throughout the life and making sure resources are available. Another woman mentioned to me, she told me that it also goes as far as euthanasia and assisted suicide. And she told a story of her grandmother who was in a nursing home at one point, and that was an option brought up, and that's where part of her passion comes for this.
All right, John, we're looking forward to hearing your stories. Stay warm out there. Again, that was John Lavenburg, the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you're watching Currents News on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell to get updates to all of our newest content, because we are putting your faith in the news.